It's time for Orchard Skills. A workflow consists of an orchestrated and repeatable pattern of business activity enabled by the systematic organization of resources into processes that transform materials, provide services, or process information. It can be depicted as a sequence of operations declared as work of a person or group, an organization of staff, or one or more simple or complex mechanisms. Orchard Core workflows are a popular mechanism for implementing activities into processes through a user-friendly interface. Today on Orchard Skills, we'll be creating workflows for two of the most common features in a website. The first feature is to create a contact us page that allows your clients to send messages. A notification will be sent. We will be implementing this feature with the Orchard Core Forms module. The second module is to allow a client to subscribe to a weekly newsletter. We will use a custom material design form from Bootstrap 5. We will create custom content types for both of these workflows. This content information will be saved and can be viewed on the admin dashboard. Welcome back. Let's get started in creating our first workflow. Go to the Orchard Skills GitHub repository, github.com/orchardskills/orchardskills.orchardcore.orchardcms, and go ahead and click on the code button and select Open with GitHub Desktop. Open GitHub Desktop. Okay, let's go ahead and clone the repository. All right. Okay, let's launch Visual Studio and open the solution. Okay, let's update our packages. Right click, go to Manage NuGet Packages for solution. Click on the updates, select all. Make sure you include pre-release and then hit the update button. Hit the OK button and then I accept. Okay, now our packages are all updated. Let's go ahead and hit the start little triangle to run the application. Okay, select the blog recipe and we'll select skills, enter our credentials and hit the finish setup button. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go into the dashboard up here and type /admin. Log in. So let's go down to the configuration and let's go to features and let's go ahead and search for a workflow. Let's go ahead and select on HTTP workflows activities and also the workflows, and then go up here to the bulk actions and hit enable. So now those two features are enabled. So let's go ahead and search for forms. Let's click on forms and let's enable that. Okay, great. So we want to make sure that we have email enabled here. So enable that. So now let's go over to our content definitions, and then content type. And let's go ahead and create a new content type, and let's call this message. And hit create, and let's select title, and then save. And let's go ahead and uncheck creatable, listable, and securable. Let's go ahead and add a field, and let's add full name. And let's make that a text field, and hit the save button. Let's add another field, and let's select email. And let's select text field and hit save. And in the email, let's go ahead and edit that and make sure that let's make it required. And for the type, let's select email and hit save. Let's go ahead and edit our full name, make that required, hit save. Let's add another field, enter message and make that a text field. Hit save. Let's go ahead and edit that and make that required and hit save. Okay, we've defined our message content type. Create a new type. So let's go to content types, create new type, and let's call this subscriber. We'll hit the create button. Let's just add title to this and hit save. Okay, and this we also want to uncheck creatable, uncheck listable, uncheck securable. Let's go ahead and add a field. And let's put first name. And let's make this a text field. Save. Let's edit that and make it required. Hit save. Let's add another field. Last name. Select text field. Hit save. Edit that and make sure that's required. Hit save. Add another field. Email. Make that a text field. Hit save. Edit that. Make it required. And then let's select an email for that and hit save. All right, we have our subscriber content type. Let's hit save and save. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and create another content type. Create messages and create that. Select title, HTML body, auto row, and then also list. And hit save. And let's hit edit the list. And let's go ahead and select message here and then hit save. All right, we got our messages. Now let's select another content type. New. And let's call this subscription. Create that. Let's select title, list, auto route, and HTML body. Hit save. And then for the list, we'll edit that. And we'll select subscriber. And hit save. There we go. We have all our content types now created. So now let's go over and create our workflow. So click on the workflow section there. Click on the create workflow. And let's call this contact. And hit our save button. Okay. So one thing you want to understand is a workflow is a collection of activities that are connected to each other. These connections are called transitions. Activities and their transitions are stored in a workflow definition. A workflow essentially is a visual script where each activity is a statement of that script. There are two types of activities. There's a task and event. So if you look up here, you can add an event and a task. A task activity typically performs an action such as publishing a content item, while an event activity typically listens for an event to happen before execution continues. In order for a workflow to execute, at least one activity must be marked as a start of the workflow, and only event activities can be marked as a start of a workflow. So let's go ahead and add. Let's select HTTP request, and let's go ahead and add this as a contact form submitted, and we'll select as a post, and let's go ahead and save that. And so when we click on this, we have to make sure that we select the start. So now that is started. So that's the start of our activity. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is to do a bind operation. And so we want to add a bind, and we'll bind from modal state. Save that down here. And then what you want to do is click on this and then go down to here. So now these two are connected. Okay, so now we add a fork, and we're going to do validate form fields. And here we want to validate full name and then save that. Okay. And so we'll have that up here. We'll take this guy and go into here. So now we want to add another task. We want to validate the form field. So we'll add that. So we'll validate the full name. No name entered. Save that. Okay. Then we want to add another task. Validate form field. Here we want to validate our email. And we'll call that email. Email not valid. Hit save on that. We'll select that over here. We want to add another event. Validate for field. And we want to validate the message. No message entered. Okay. Save that. Put that over here. Then we want to do is validate full name goes to here. Validate email goes to here. And then validate message goes to here. So next what we want to do, add task, and we want to do a join. So add that. And we want to do await all, so we'll save that. And we want to do a join right down here. And so here, go to there. Go ahead down to there, and then this one down to here. So now one thing you got to remember, if you say did something like this, then this is not good. So what you want to do is click on this and go out to here to make sure that the button is a circle, because we're not going to be using any of these two events. So if you do something like this, put to yourself, then that makes this invalid and it'll give you an error, and it's really hard to troubleshoot. So make sure when you're doing this, you make those somewhere, otherwise you'll get in trouble. So okay, once we have our join, so now we want to do is a validate form. So let's do an add task, add validate form, and down here. And so we'll join that down to here. Okay, now what we want to do, create content. So we'll add create content, and we'll call this one create message content task. Select our message, which is right there. And we want to make sure we select publish. And for your content properties, what you want is your title part, and you want your liquid to be request.form.fullname. And then you also want to put your display text, which is request.form.fullname. And that just put the information on the actual content type when you see it being displayed. Then we have our message, which is our full name, text, request.form.fullname, our email, which is a text, request.form.email, message, which is a text, request.form.message. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that in a container. So we need to make sure that the list container item ID is specified as well. Otherwise, they'll just go into the overall top level content type. So you kind of want to organize it, and that's why we created those message type. And then we just go ahead and say save, and we'll bring that down here. And so if it's valid, we click on here, and then if you want, we'll add another task, and we'll do an email. So we'll add that title, email to Siteman from sales at sender, recipients, subject, new contact. And for the email task body, what we want to do is add some HTML. The following information was submitted, and name, and then request.form.fullname, and then email, request.form.email, and message, request.form.message. Then we specify an email, redirect, add that, and we'll say thank you page, and we can say thanks, and then save that, and then we can put that here. And so then if we go here, so now we redirect to a thank you page to let them know that their message was sent successfully, and we will get back with you as soon as possible. And hit save and save again. Okay, that's how we create a contact workflow. Now let's create our next workflow, which is called subscribe. So click the create workflow type, and let's subscribe. And hit save. And then again here, add an event, and we'll do an HTTP request, add that, and then we'll select post, and then we can say HTTP request subscribe event, and then we'll hit the save button. Then we go and make sure we hit the startup task, so we enable that. Okay, so next we want to add a task, and we'll add create content, and here we'll say create subscriber content task, and then we'll select subscriber, select publish, and for the content properties, we'll define title part, title request.form.first name, request.form.last name, display text, which is request.form.firstname, request.form.lastname, and then subscriber, and then first name of text, request.form.firstname, and then last name of text, request.form.lastname, and then email, text, request form.email. And then, of course, we need to specify what container we want to put it in, and that is our list content item ID, which is in the subscription container. And then we go ahead and hit save. Bring that down here. Then we take this and select it there. Okay. And then we can also add another task, which is redirect here. And we can say HTTP redirect, thanks, subscribe, location. And we can say thanks, subscribe. And then we'll hit save. And then we can go ahead and on completion of that, we'll select that. All right, there we go. We have our workflow all set up. So let's go ahead and hit save here and save once again. And there we go. We have our subscribe workflow completed. Now that we have our content type definitions defined and also our workflows defined, we can go ahead and export this through a deployment plan. So let's go up here and add deployment plan, and let's call it workflow content. Hit create, edit that, and add a step. And what we want to do is we want to add content definitions. And in the content definitions, we want to add our message, our subscribe, our messages, and our subscription. So that's all the tasks set there. Okay, and hit create, and we'll add another step. And then we want to add all workflow types. Create that. So we have 2 steps, and let's go ahead and execute that. Select, and it creates a zip file with your recipe. So click on that, open in folder. Let's go ahead and extract that to content. Go in there, and then there's our recipe here. So you can see here, here's the recipe that's been generated for us automatically. There's an existing workflow that's already in the material design theme for Contact Us. We'll merge these 2 recipes to support both workflows with creating content. Now that we got the recipe merged, what I want to point out is that we also need to add some additional admin menus for the subscription and also for the messages here. And another thing I want to point out, there's also a subscription where it specifies a path, which is subscription here, and also for the messages. When you select on the admin menu for subscriptions and for messages, it will go to this location here. The best way to understand the merged recipes is to go through each of the different sections where the content type definitions are defined, along with each activity and transitions of the workflows. So let's go ahead and run our application. So let's go up and hit the little green triangle, and this will start our application. Okay, let's go ahead and select the material design theme, enter our credentials, and click on the Finish Setup button. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and log in. Go to our dashboard. And so let's go ahead and look at our workflows. So here's our contact workflow. And let's go ahead and look at our subscribe workflow. Then you'll notice here we have our subscriptions, which currently the list is empty, and then we have our messages list, which is currently empty as well. Before we can start running the contact workflow, we need to set up the SMTP mail settings. So let's go in here to configuration, settings, and then SMTP. And so you'll have to add the sender's email address, the host name, port number, and also credentials for your SMTP. Once you have that, you can go ahead and do a test email. Do subject test workflow. And then we can hit send. And there it is. Test workflow email. So that's working. So another thing we need to do is we need to go back into the workflow and go into our content and click on our form and edit that. And we have to regenerate our token. So click on that, copy that, save that again. And now we need to go into our content items, into our contact, and in our contact form. And we need to update this guy here. And then publish that. And also go back to our workflow, we need to go into subscribe, click on here, edit here, regenerate our token, copy that, save that again, and then go into our design, into our templates, in our landing page, and inside here we have our workflow. So paste that there. And then save that. So every time when you run a template, you have to regenerate your tokens. Run our application and enter our name. Orchard Skills. Sales of Orchard Skills. And let's go ahead and subscribe. And there you go. Subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. You will now be receiving our weekly newsletter. So now if we go back into the admin, go into the dashboard, and now if we go into subscription, we notice that we have an entry here. So we can click on that, and then we have our title, Orchard Skills, first name Orchard, last name Skills, and here's our email. So that's all working. So let's go back and run here, and let's go to our contact. And let's enter Orchard Skills and say, this is a message workflow related. And let's go ahead and submit that. And there we go. It says, thanks. Thank you for your message. Someone will get back with you as soon as possible. So let's go ahead and log into admin, go to the dashboard, and let's go to our messages. And there we go. Title, Orchard Skills, full name, Orchard Skills. This is a message, workflow related, and here's our email. So now let's go ahead and go to see if we receive this email. So, and there you go. Here's our email. Sales from Orchard Core. The following information was submitted. Name, Orchard Skills. Email, sales@orchardskills.com. Message, this is a test workflow related. So everything is working. So to summarize, we created two workflows, one for subscribing to our newsletter and the other one for sending a message into the Contact Us page. Now, if you missed or didn't understand something, that's okay. There's a detailed blog post that describes all the steps. There is also a GitHub repository with the complete source code. All this information is in the video description. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up icon. Also, please subscribe and click on the bell icon to get a notification when I release the next video. Thank you for watching.